Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and we're going to do a big, obviously, COVID-19 update as this is pretty much affecting everybody on certain levels, as I said it would weeks ago. And as you guys know, I've been watching all the press conferences, especially the CUOMO ones. I'm not catching all the de Blasio ones, but definitely pieces of those outside of the media. I'm trying to catch the national ones, et cetera, et cetera. I'm reading the emails. We're doing all that. We're trying to put out all the base information. Now, before I even get into CUOMO, talking about this lasting 12 to 18 months today, and the solution being basically, we won't. He basically said, guys, and I want you to go check it out yourself, that this doesn't end until there's a proven vaccine 12 to 18 months from now. And obviously, I take extreme caution with that because obviously I don't think that's a solution. Now, we're going to go over a ton of stuff here. But before we do that, the nurse from Queens reached out to me today without me saying this. And I'm just going to read word for word what she said and I said. And this is actually less than an hour old. And this is positive. That's why I'm starting it with this information. Okay. Over 900 COVID plus patients discharged. Okay. So that's positive. I'm sorry. COVID positive patients. I said, that's awesome. Is that New York City or New York State? She says, that's just my hospital. So I think that she's been dealing with this now, obviously over a month, but now the number is almost 1,000. I guess it's over 900 from her hospital being released. So I go, so give me an in-depth update on the past week if you could. He goes, or she. The past week, our number of patients coming in was lower than it has been in months, as well as decreased admissions. People that had already been admitted to the hospital were dying. We heard lots of rapid responses in code blues, but not everyone died, of course. Those calls were every 15 to 30 minutes last week. Now the calls are much longer apart. It's great, filled with much more hope. That's awesome. That's good stuff, right? I'm happy about that. You guys should be happy about that, at least those of you that realize the very real situation we're in. And that's another thing. A lot of people think the idea that me believing that this virus is real, because it is, and that the solution of a lockdown is terrible, and our response has been terrible, and I don't want to lock down society. They're not mutually exclusive. There were ways around this, and I've talked about them, and there would still be ways to fix this in a shorter time span than what we're seeing. But that doesn't benefit the predator class. I refuse to call them elites. Okay? Thumbs this video, subscribe, and share, guys. So let me continue this. Again, it's great, filled with much more hope. Most of the COVID patients that were coming in the ER were getting sent back home as well. Most of them have been stable. Okay? Now, remember, they have taken a large number of bodies. Today, CUOMO, I think the number was somewhere in the 650-something deaths in New York, which is good. Hey, good. So the last thing I asked her, and she hasn't gotten back to me yet, and I hope that she does, just so everybody knows that I am trying to follow up on this, because obviously you're seeing a decrease in the patients. How you doing, Erica? I asked her, good, has the treatment changed at all? Are they using the hydroxychloroquine? And have they stopped using vents as much, etc.? So I'm hoping to get a response back. Who knows, maybe we'll even get it in the broadcast. Now, as you guys know, not only have I been reporting on CUOMO and what he's saying, but I've been reporting the fact that I think that the numbers are not quote-unquote inflated, but they are actually deflated. And you know what? I didn't even bring that one video up, but we're going to make sure to get that video going today because a lot of people still don't believe it. I played it with the Last American Vagabond, but he still hasn't put that video up, so I think it's important. So first of all, revealed more than 3,600 elderly people have died from coronavirus in nursing homes across the U.S., but the government does not count them. And a lot of people have said they've been inflating the numbers, and they go to the Bricks clip that people have played, right? But I watched her clarify that later on and then say, actually, there are some people that think it goes in the other direction. I'm not saying you should believe any of the official numbers, okay? However, when you have a massive amount of people, dying at these nursing homes suddenly, You got to look at the old death rate. And a lot of people are not doing that. And as I stated, what a lot of people think that, I'm going to show you that it's not the case in a moment. A lot of people think that the death certificates, they're just marking them down as COVID-19. That's the new myth going around the internet, okay? And that is a myth. And I'm going to show you why in a moment. So first of all, over a month ago, I showed you how these family members were very upset because they weren't being tested. Their loved ones who were dying were not being tested post-mortem. And a lot of people ignored that. They still ignore it. You know, right now when I posted that first article on Twitter, I'm having to send this article and then this article. Now, normally in New York City, maybe you'd have, 140 people dying a day. It was much more than that, folks. That's why they opened the mass grave sites. Those were not empty graves, okay? And at the bottom of this, and we're going to play this video, at least the portion of it we need to right now, all right? At the bottom of this is a video that I'm encouraging people to go watch, all right? Everybody complains I don't put links. Pause the video at any time. Search the headline. It's right there every time. Not only that, the video link is right there if you can read on the top. Just pointing that out to everybody that wants me to do more work than I already do. Thank you. But we're going to do this right now. All right. And we're going to play this. And I'm going to show you how they actually, because it's such a, everybody's saying, oh, they're doctoring the numbers. They're doctoring the numbers. Hold on one moment. We want to make sure that everybody understands what's really going on here. I want to get it right to that point. All right. First of all, let's do it with no sound so you can see, this funeral director here, overwhelmed. Okay, there it is. Up. Sorry, guys, wrong one. There we go. Although Whitney Webb was a great guest, and you should also follow her. All right, so now in here, he talks about the number of, COVID patients, I think, being like 16% or something like that. He might even said 60. I don't know. You'd have to go watch that part. In fact, why don't we just play it right there?
We're at capacity, and this is just one area. This is one area. I'm going to say that at least 60% of them in this room are COVID
60.
patients. Equipment issues, okay? We don't have enough stretchers. We don't have the infrastructure to handle them.
Now, let's see. That he wants to go and talk about how this takes a couple days, too, for the death certificates. Where are the death certificates? Here it is right here, I think.
We need help. I would love to pick up Grandma now and have her under my roof where I could watch her, but I don't have the accommodation to get her right now. Did you and Mom decide on what type of services that you wanted? This virus took religion out of the equation. My poor families, the Christian families can't go to churches. The Muslim families can't go to mosque. The Jewish families can't go to the temple.
That's not what I want. I want the death certificate. There it is, right? Is that the death certificate part? Maybe this is the shorter video. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. We do it live. Thumbs it up. Subscribe and share. Don't tell me that it's not even there. It should be there. Let's see if we can play it through the web. We'll try the web play, guys. Sometimes I mess up. Let's go. Here we go.
When a loved one dies, we want to celebrate their life. But this pandemic has impacted.
There it is right here. Okay.
We're all overwhelmed.
The problem is not just the number of deaths. The transfer of bodies has slowed down too.
In order for the body to be cremated or buried, the medical examiner's office has to clear the cause of death on the death certificate.
So now what's happening is doctors that don't have confirmed case of COVID, they're putting pneumonia. So now they're not accepting this cause of death. So we have to wait to get the right cause of death that would be cleared for cremation.
It's taking up to 3 days to get a death certificate fixed.
The other problem we're having is we're not getting death certificates online quick enough. The doctors are overwhelmed. So the person's in the hospital for an extra day or so because the death certificate's not signed.
During that time,
So again, they are being overwhelmed. I mean, this is last week, but do you understand also what I'm talking about? So it would take days to get the death certificate. And in fact, it was only when they would do a post-mortem test that they would even change it over. Okay, so all these other people that are telling you they're just marking it down, I mean, do you think that guy's a liar? Do you think the guy from Business Insider, a much smaller publication, is also a liar? He wasn't there. The bodies are fake. You got to do your own research. And now I want to get to the issue of testing, because I've talked about this too, is no, not everybody could get a test. In fact, in California, this woman had no pre-existings that they knew of. Okay, she's in her early 40s. She was twice denied a test, 43. Okay, and she was a police officer, by the way. She was a detective. Okay, and they denied her twice, because remember, they are sending a lot of law enforcement home. Remember, we've talked about all the people who have actually not showed up because of this. And she's dead. And you can believe that she just died of something else all you want, but twice tried to get it, couldn't get it. Now, I haven't really gone along with the mainstream. My entire channel has been demonetized. For that, I want to just say this. Thank you to everybody who has given to this GoFundMe. Let's get out of the 9th one. Let's go to the 10th one. That's where we really need it. If you can give $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me, guys. I'm just going that in the middle because, this is their new draconian policy. It's funny that they sent this to me while demonetizing my whole channel, but now they're saying monetization update. You can monetize. You can't prank. You can't talk about 5G. You can't say it targets certain ethnic groups. Basically, there's a full parameter of Orwellian features that make you you have to listen to the WHO and Center for Disease Control, okay, and the National Health Service, even though in a lot of ways they've been exposed with these Red Dawn emails we started to go over yesterday. We'll go over more later today, by the way. Okay. It's so Orwellian and ridiculous because remember, 13 of my last 14 videos that they reviewed, all of which were on the had to do with the coronavirus, all got remonetized. All of this is just so arbitrary and unreal. So I want to talk about some other things out there, okay? Bob Iger supposedly has taken control back of Disney. I first kind of became aware of this a little bit when it was said that he was called by Gavin Newsom, right? And remember, Iger had stepped down. Who knows the backdoor dealings there of getting back in the mix. But Gavin Newsom had called Iger personally to try to get the UFC taken off, and they did. We're still going to do Mixed Martial Mindset with John Fitch at 6 p.m. today, by the way. So just really odd stuff. And now, you got to ask yourself what Iger is going to be doing and how he's going to be working with the government during these very odd times. And again, Cuomo's telling you 12 to 18 months. 12 to 18 months. And here's the deal. Stephanopoulos has tested positive for this. He says he feels fine. His wife, who a lot of you will know is an actress, right? She looked like death. They lived together. It's not a surprise he got it, but he's completely asymptomatic. So again, Cuomo's push for this to be over is literally test every single human being. And the problem is now that they want to test everybody, right? And I should bring this up. There's different strains. There isn't going to be a vaccine that's proven to work for all these things, ever. Okay? And you can check this out yourself. Cynthia McKinney posted this. There's an A and a B strain. And supposedly we got the less lethal strain in the beginning. Maybe the B strain's here. Check it out. Let's go to this. And now they're talking about a C strain. All right? See what I'm saying? And I encourage people to go check this out. This is at the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. And it's extremely important to understand these things. Okay? Because to me, when you have something that's extremely contagious but doesn't do anything to this guy and then puts his wife on her ass and it also can kill a 43-year-old woman with no pre-existings, we don't need a vaccine for this. We need an actual treatment. Whether it be the intravenous vitamin C, whether it be, even an antiviral or even the TML we've talked about, the microdosing of thimerosal you're not seeing in the mainstream media. We need something, okay? So apparently, a lot of people have talked about these pandemic bonds, but I guess they haven't been cashed in yet. It's a subject I don't know enough about to report beyond this, because to me it's just odd that the World Bank would take out these pandemic bonds when in fact, they could never be cashed in as the economy is crumbling. But again, if they use it to, I guess, subvert different individual currencies and try to initiate a global currency. That would make sense. And not just a special drawing right like the IMF, a 0 and 1, an actual, not minted currency, but at least something given a name. Now, I finally watched the entire Epoch Times CCP Virus Documentary. I think it has a ton of holes. I talked about that with The Last American Vagabond. Obviously, I think that the evidence that this thing is bioengineered and a bioweapon are undeniable. And that China and its system are bad. It's undeniable. But other than that, I mean, it's skated around a lot of things. I want to point out, once again, that as Iran and China are saying that this is a bioweapon released by the U.S., I missed this, but basically Trump says, the coronavirus outbreak was artificially induced.
They said, close it down. You have to close it down. We closed it down, and we're healing, and we're going to get it better fast. Very quickly, this was artificially induced.
This was artificially induced. And, a lot of people are going to interpret that many ways, but I think it's setting you up for saying that this didn't come from a bat, right? And this will be the new big war, China versus the United States. And that's what this 12 to 18 months thing, I think, is going to be about. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of internal struggles for globalism. But obviously, China's being set up as the big bad red enemy. Okay, even though our government and the predator class that's been behind them prop that up and love the system of the social credit score and will, again, adapt certain aspects of that to this society and say, well, it works there and, we won't abuse it. But because they're going to do that, a lot of people are saying, well, why is the military everywhere? Why are they building these facilities? Well, I truly believe that they're going to have to build infrastructure in here, and they are going to try to test all 300 plus million of us before the end of this. Somehow, some way, in different areas. And they're going to keep pushing a vaccination as the answer and nothing else, and that's unacceptable. Now, I do want to say this. I'm no fan of Mr. Barr, and I do not trust Mr. Barr. But at least he has come out and said he's against the digital vaccine certificates that are being promoted by Bill Gates. Bill Gates, by the way, also in the news with that weird Marina Abramovich mixed reality scariness. I'm well aware of that too, guys. We'll probably do a full separate video on that. But the bottom line is, guys, there's a lot going on all over, behind the scenes, in your face. But those that think this ends in May, for anybody, you're fooling yourself. And if you look what just happened in Detroit, okay, that's significant. And if you look what happened in the prison system, and by the way, what am I saying in Detroit? Over the last few days, supposedly people dying in the hallways. They didn't have the infrastructure set up in Michigan, apparently. We have had that infrastructure in New York set up. And that doesn't mean I'm for, again, not promoting a lockdown here, guys. But I will say this, at the end of April, this doesn't end. It continues. So, thumbs the video up, subscribe, share, and again, don't just believe anything. And you don't have to believe me, but do your own research. There's a lot of people out there. For instance, let's see if I can find that other article, history. Which one was that? Was that a Medium article? It may have been. A lot of people are also saying, well, everybody just stop dying of the, let's see, is it truth or conspiracy? No, man, I really wanted to pull this up. They think that people aren't dying of the pneumonia, right? Anymore, and they're just marking that down. That's another one. But if you watch my last Vagabond interview from a couple days ago, I disprove that as well. I show you how the graph catches up. It hasn't taken a nosedive, guys. But it gets promoted by a lot of people, and then they won't back up and admit they were wrong. So, listen, not my most put together video, but I'm trying to get the news out to you guys live. So thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Please, if you can, hit the GoFundMe. Completely demonetized me on this channel. I don't want to necessarily start a backup channel. I am over on Minds right now, guys. That's something we should check that out. Which one's this? Oh, that's that. Remember to follow me on Twitter. Rockfin there. Listen, go subscribe to Rockfin, okay? It's free to make an account. Follow me on Rockfin tomorrow at noon on Tuesday, every Tuesday at noon for free. I do an exclusive live stream update there. So make sure to go over to Rockfin. You don't have to endorse me. You don't have to pay the money. That's fine. And you can get the free broadcast once a week. And then there's other premium content if you'd like to support me. And then you get every other creator. It's like a Netflix for creators. And then make sure you're subscribed here. You know, thumbing it up, sharing the information, and trying to give you the reality of the situation, everybody. I love you, and I'll see you on the flip.